Hello, fellow traders. 'Tis I, TheRumpledOne, coming to you on Tuesday, April the 30th, the year's 2024. Let's talk trading when the market smiles upon you with Walmal. These videos are for educational purposes only. Your results may differ from mine and different from Walmal. Walmal, did the market smile upon you today?
Yeah, it did, despite my own stupidity. But sometimes that happens, and it's sometimes it feels good when it happens. But the reality is, I almost wish it didn't happen. Not that I'm begrudging making some money on the deal, but it's more of you don't want to get into a situation where the market gives you things that you're undeserving of. And why do I say that? I say that because that means that, there's potential that I get lazy in the future and I don't go and fully look at things and I don't fully grasp the seriousness of things. But just getting back to what actually happened, 8:30 Eastern time, there was a news drop. And prior to that, what had happened was I had gotten a flip-flop box and, it just didn't go my way. And I thought, for looking at the market, I really thought it was going to eventually go my way. And so I held on to the trade, even though it went probably about 7 pips against me. And I got another entry, probably about 10 minutes later, got another entry and I took it. And which was nice. It brought me actually to where between the two trades, I was actually only down maybe a pip, and I stayed in the trade because I really did think that it was gonna go in my direction. And lo and behold, yeah, it did, because what happened was a news drop, and it dropped, 30 pips. I think it dropped in total. It dropped like 34 pips or something like that, and I was in there for a double trade, and so that basically is 2 times in where I got out, and so I wound up actually picking up between everything like 51 pips, I believe, on the deal. And it's like, well, that's great. You got 51 pips. You should be happy and jumping up there. I'm happy for the money. I'm not so happy for the method, because, like I said in the very beginning of all this, you start getting wins like that. I think it may set you up for some failure. And you say, well, what type of failure can that set you up for? It can set you up for, just like I said, not being serious about what's going on, not paying attention, willing to go and take chances where you shouldn't take chances, not willing to go and fully, look at everything you should be looking at. And the sad thing about the whole situation was that, first thing in the morning, I did go back and I did go and look at the, at where the news was. And I did even go and write on a little post-it note and stick it on the screen. And so I shouldn't have missed it, but I did. I don't know why, but I did. And, I got rewarded for my own stupidity.
So
go ahead.
What are you going to do so that doesn't happen in the future?
I don't know. I guess what else can I do? I did everything that I should have done to not forget it. I looked at the news. I wrote it down. I guess it's just I'm hoping that what I can do is chalk it up to just a bad morning where I just wasn't, concentrating the way I should have. And, thinking, now that you asked that question, I guess one of the things I could blame my sister, maybe. The reason why is because it was my sister's birthday, and I got a Facebook, notification that it was my sister's birthday, and it took me off track. And it's like, oh, shoot, I forgot to go and do something about that. And in our family, birthdays between my siblings is a very, very important thing. And I started thinking, I didn't send a card, I didn't do this, I didn't do that. I'm gonna be in deep doo doo, and I'm start thinking about that nonsense instead of what I'm sitting at my desk to do. So maybe I got to go and say, turn off Facebook notifications when you're trading. Maybe that would help, or get back to my, if anybody looked at my original trading plan that I know I know it's posted on Facebook and a couple of other places, but, one of the things I had in there was to eliminate all distractions, no web pages open, no this open, no that open, none of that stuff open, so that you didn't get any type of distractions. And maybe that's something I got to go and, because I have become deficient, and I do have web pages open now. I do have that type of stuff there, and maybe I need to get back to that and become a little bit more serious, since I don't make mistakes like that.
Well, I was also thinking, before you enter a trade, do you read over your plan before you enter each and every trade?
No, I don't, and I have a reason for that. Or actually, I don't have a reason. I have an excuse.
Well, it may be there's a few elements that you have to do that, if it doesn't fit on a 3x5 card, it's, too complex. That's one of my rules of thumb. And maybe one of the things is, while you're in a trade and then before you enter the next one, because you said you entered a second one, you say, is there a news event, or when's the next news event? So that you would have, when you entered before you entered that second trade, it would have been like, oh shit, the news is going to come out in, 10 minutes or 5 minutes or whatever.
Exactly. You're exactly right. The first trade, the reason why I don't really look at the 3x5 card that I had written up very much anymore is because I'm trading off a 1 minute chart, and I find I don't have enough time to go and do it. And what happens is when I was doing it and I was looking at the 3x5, what was happening was the trade was gone. Meaning, not that the trade didn't materialize. No, the trade materialized, and it left me sitting at the bus stop, without getting on the bus, and so that's why I stopped doing that. It was more of, okay, I know what my trading plan is. I've got it memorized. I got it more than memorized. I've been doing it for long enough. I should be able to tick all those ticks off real quick in my head, and and be able to go and do it. And so that's the excuse.
Well, okay. So you can't do that. But here's another idea. On your phone, 5 minutes before a news event, it dings you.
And that's exactly. I have an EA that kind of does that, but it stopped working for some reason. I think it's just because what happened was the broker I'm using changed the names of the instruments, and when it did that, it stopped working because they started using weird names. Like normally the name like the pound dollar is just like GBP/USD, and then some brokers put in there the .I or a .1. Well, mine puts in a .LQ, and it's like, and once that happened, that EA stopped working. I got to go and I do have the source code for that, and I need to go in there and just maybe modify that EA to go and do that. And because what's nice about that EA is what it does is it literally draws a big transparent line, vertical line on the chart whenever there's news, and it goes, and when you if you hover your cursor over it, what it does is it goes and tells you what the news event is, and it pulls all that off of FOREX Factory. It just pulls that out of there. So maybe I should go out and actually try to fix that EA. That's an EA that I grabbed, I think, off of FOREX Factory or someplace like that, and maybe there's an update to it. Maybe I should investigate that. But, that's a good idea. And the reality is, Tiro, is that second trade, there's no excuse for it. I'm in the trade. Yeah, I'm in the trade. But what I should be doing is, before I get into that second trade, I had 10 minutes, like I admitted at the very beginning of this video. I had 10 minutes. That's more than enough time to go through my 3x5 card. It's more than enough time to go and check out and see if there's any news events or anything else that's out there. What if I now I've got 10 minutes where I can say, I talked to you last week or the week before, I think it was the week before, about, these areas. I think I call them micro walls or something like that,
Right.
where we're trading into a wall of resistance or a wall of support. Now I've got more than enough time to go and determine if that's actually happening or not. Why didn't I do that? Well, lazy. Be completely transparent. I was lazy, and this is not the game for the lazy. I guess it is in one sense, because technically, if you're trading with a large enough account, you can be done in your day in 10 minutes, right? So then you can go off and do something else. So you can be lazy in that respect, but you can't be lazy once in the process of pulling the trigger and then going and sitting in the trade and then pulling the trigger to get out of the trade. You can't be lazy then.
No, you can't be lazy with a large account, Walmal, because even though you might only need one trade, you still have to execute all the steps, as even if you're doing 10 trades or more per day, because that if you're lazy on that one trade, it could bite you, and it'll bite you really hard if you have a big account.
You're exactly right. You're exactly right. And I've seen, it's funny because there was a trader that was on somebody's show that you actually sent me the video to go watch him going back a couple of years ago, and he talked about how he went in there and he built his account up from like, I don't know, $500, $1,000, something like that, to like $1 million, and then in the process he went and became lazy, and he did some really foolish things, like he imbibed in some alcohol and wasn't paying attention to any of his rules, and in the process didn't follow any of the rules that he had set up. And next thing you know, half of his account was gone. All in a matter of an hour or two. And that's the lack of hubris that you can get yourself into if you don't pay attention. You got to go. This is serious business. This is real money. This is a monopoly. This is real stinking money. I think the brokers try to hide it by calling it tips, but it's still stinking money.
Right.
It's sort of like, I know we don't have much time left, but I'll make the point quickly. It's sort of like, you think about, places like Club Med where, you go and pay for your drinks and beads, right? Why do they do that? They do that because, it's just beads, no big deal. So you wind up spending more money while you're there. But you actually, you're spending more beads. Put two and two together. Hey, that's real money until it's time to check out. And now you got to go and pay the piper.
Yeah, I know. I don't know if I ever told this story, but I remember I used to always use checks. Way back in the 70s, when I first got my checking account. You go to the grocery store. I just write a check. Well, one time, for whatever reason, either I didn't have my checkbook or I wanted to pay in cash. I can't remember the reason, but I paid in cash, and I was like, "Holy cow!" Back in the 70s, breaking out like 320s, that was a lot of money at the grocery store, and it was just like, "Holy cow! This is real money here?" It's like a check, you write a number. It's like credit card, you just tap it, swipe it, put it in the reader, and it's like you don't think about it. But
you're exactly right, sir.
But no, it's just something that it's real easy, like you said, to not, or to get I guess it's easy for the brokers to quote unquote distract us by, instead of calling it dollars, calling it pips. But for whatever reason, or points, that's what they do. And I think maybe it's because of all the different currencies, some of which aren't really dollars. But you know what, fellow traders? The fastest 15 minutes in trading's almost over. And just so you know, in about 14 minutes, there's another news drop there, Walmal. So you don't get to make that same mistake twice today. Because remember, when you're at your trading platform, it's not what you trade, it's how you trade it. So go out there and drain the banks. This is the TheRumpledOne, over and out.